We're covering two major stories tonight. An earthquake rocked the state line this morning, and a survivor from the Fort Morgan human chain is speaking out.
It's the incredible story of a Good Samaritan rescued from the waves. We'll bring it to you in just a moment.
Tonight, we start with the earthquake that rocked the state line this morning. It happened about 10 o'clock between Flomaton and Bruton.
We have team coverage tonight. We'll dive into the area's history and the science behind these quakes in just a moment. But first, we'll go to where it all unfolded this morning.
It hit hard. All the action lasted about 3 seconds, but it was enough to leave folks a little shaken. NBC 15's James Gordon joins us from Flomaton, where it's the big news tonight.
Well, they felt it at City Hall, at the local bank, and even north of Flomaton and across the state line in Florida. Two states, different cities, and small towns felt this morning's earthquake. Cindy Tanier lives north of Flomaton.
I was sleeping in my bed, sound asleep, and I sat up and I was like, what in the world is going on?
Across the state line in Century, Florida, the local food giant grocery store showed us this video of the end cap shaking and some startled employees wondering what was going on. The same at this liquor store. The clerk here was on her phone at the time. She says she didn't know what to think at the time.
I was like, my first thing was if it was an earthquake, then maybe a bottle would have fell. So when I got up to go look, no bottles was on the ground. I was like, no, I'm overthinking it.
I mean, it was enough that I could see the walls moving in my house.
Ronald Johnson of Mount Carmel, Florida, was sitting on his lazy boy at the time.
You've ever had a helicopter fly over and how it shakes the ground? That's what it felt like before, but this, now you could really feel this.
No damage was reported. Now folks around here are wondering if there will be an aftershock. And folks who grew up here say they have felt the earth shake before, but this was definitely the strongest. Now we're live in Flomaton. James Gordon, NBC 15 News.
Thanks, James. That area is prone to feeling the ground shake, and you don't have to go back far at all to remember the last time the earth moved. Today's earthquake was in the same area as 9 other quakes that struck Escambia County last year. March 6 last year, a 2.8 magnitude quake rumbled just outside Jay, Florida. Over the next week, 3 other quakes rocked Flomaton, one less than a mile from where today's quake happened. Before March ended, a 5th quake rocked Century just across the state line. The next month, 3 more quakes, all within 12 hours of each other. One was closer to Atmore than the others. Less than 24 hours later, a 9th quake rumbled in the same area as 2 the day before.
Now, you may have noticed that today's quake was stronger than any of last year's quakes. Earlier today, we asked Dr. Alex Beebe, an associate geology professor with the University of South Alabama, about its strength.
It's high for that particular area, but on the grand scale of earthquake magnitudes, that's not really a very strong earthquake. In fact, we don't consider earthquakes to be strong until they reach a magnitude 6, which would be much, much more powerful than this 3.8 to 4 earthquake.
The ultimate question now is, what is the difference? Our team coverage continues with the Gulf Coast Chief Meteorologist, Alan Sills. Alan, what do these numbers mean and how do they compare?
Well, the numbers are ranking an earthquake by how much power it has. And you think about hurricane scales and tornado scales. Well, the earthquake scale, which is known as the Richter scale or the moment magnitude scale, when you go from a 1 to a 2, the power is 10 times greater. And when you look at how that scale goes all the way down to 9 and you look at the power, you're going from basically something that may be 10 times greater than a 1 to something today that was 100 times greater than a 1. And put it in perspective to some of the historic earthquakes like the one in Northridge, California back in 1994. That one was 100,000 times stronger than a 1, or basically compared to today, it was 1,000 times stronger. And don't forget the tsunami in Indonesia, that one, 110 million times. In other words, these are enormously large numbers. Now, we do get earthquakes in Alabama, especially northern Alabama. That's a map from the Geological Survey of the state of Alabama, and there's also a map from the U.S. Geological Survey that you can participate in. It's on their website. It's called Did You Feel It? Literally, it plots where people felt today's earthquake. I'll have your weather forecast in just a few minutes.
NBC 15 News has been on top of this story all day. We sent an alert right to your phone as soon as we found out about this earthquake. If you want to get alerts when breaking news happens, download our free NBC 15 News app.
Tonight, a Good Samaritan who nearly drowned after this human chain broke apart in Fort Morgan Saturday is publicly thanking the person who pulled her from the water, and she's still trying to find out who he is.
The New Orleans doctor says she wouldn't be alive tonight had it not been for the heroic actions of the resort workers.
I had no idea it had gone out as far as it did.
Dr. Lisa Casey was one of the furthest people out in a human chain that formed Saturday in an attempt to save two swimmers in distress.
I thought it was just going to be a quick, let's go grab them and get them back in, but that isn't what happened.
Oh my God, come on.
Video NBC 15 News obtained shows waves overtaking the chain and breaking the people apart, ultimately sending even more people into deadly rip currents and rough surf. Karen Graham, a 54-year-old Memphis mother of two and wife, didn't survive. Graham, her friends say, had been one of the first ones to run and join the human chain, but soon found herself in distress.
She mouthed to me, "I'm not going to make it." And I said, "I'm not going to make it either." And at that point, I don't know what happened to me, if I blacked out or what. The next thing I know, I was being carried on shore.
Casey says it was two beach club resort workers who were instrumental in saving the lives of 10 people. One of them, she says, saved hers.
Do you have a message to them?
Absolutely. Thank you. And my family and my children, thank you.
Casey says not only did the beach club worker physically assist in getting her to safety, but he also kept her from panicking so she could get to shore.
I said to him, "I really think I'm going to die." And he said, "No, you're not. And it's not going to happen today." More people made it out because he was there. And that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And he was not obligated to do that.
NBC 15 News has reached out to the beach club for comment and to learn more about the workers turned Good Samaritans, but we have not heard back.
We told you last year about how new resources brought a major improvement in beach safety out at Fort Morgan. Last October, Fort Morgan Fire Rescue told us signs helped cut down on the number of rescues needed. A new robotic flotation device has also helped when it comes to rescues. It's named for Jevin Lemke, a Wisconsin teenager who disappeared beneath the waves March of last year.
NBC 15 News was the first to bring you this jaw-dropping video. To see the rest of it as well as the rest of our coverage, head over to our website, mynbc15.com.
Charges dropped. A 22-year-old charged in connection with the death of a Theodore senior just days before her graduation has been cleared of wrongdoing. NBC 15's Rachel Wilkinson joins us now. Rachel, Logan Woodruff was initially charged with vehicular homicide.
Kim, Woodruff's attorney says even though his client has been cleared, his name is still being tarnished on social media.
This young man has been vilified and his family's been vilified.
Jason Darley represents 22-year-old Logan Woodruff. Woodruff was charged with vehicular homicide in May along with 21-year-old Yaderick Madera. Police initially reported each driver was involved in the accident, which killed 18-year-old Devaney Rooney. Court records now say investigators got it wrong. Now Jason Darley wants it known his client did nothing wrong.
He had stopped at a stop sign leaving his neighborhood, and there's this crest of the hill that the two vehicles were speeding almost double the speed limit. One of them collides with Miss Rooney. And, obviously that was not Logan Woodruff. He complied. He gave his blood. He stayed there on scene. And, it was our opinion that he never should have been charged.
This week, the district attorney's office dropped the charge.
He was not on his cell phone. He had no drugs in his system. He was abiding by the rules of the road.
Darley says despite the court ruling, Woodruff's reputation is tainted.
They understand it's serious. They understand the young lady lost her life, but he was the wrong target. And the people on social media, it's still going on. We've seen it this morning. And it's not stopping. And they still say he's racing or drugs and stuff like that. That's not Logan Woodruff, never was.
Darley says Woodruff's family has been praying for the Rooney family. Devaney Rooney's family attorney issued a statement saying in part, "Our investigation is ongoing while we seek accountability for all those responsible for this tragic death." Andrea.
Rachel, thanks. You may remember back in May, Devaney was honored at Theodore High School's graduation last year. Her sister accepted her diploma. To hear from her classmates last May and to see all of our coverage, head over to our website, mynbc15.com.
The safe bet, how coastal casinos have adapted to keep gaming alive.
Brand new images from the search for the stolen food truck out of Orange Beach after the break where it was last spotted.
This is NBC 15 News, winner of Best Newscast from the Alabama Broadcasters Association. Get